buildings, attacks on villages, some of them being pillaged and left in shambles by some of the raiders. The UPDF has found itself in a spot of bother. Accusations of high-handedness in the conduct of the disarmament process. There are also accusations and reports of apparent profiteering from cattle raiding and everything around it. Today, or this morning on Morning at T NTV, we do have the spokesperson for the Uganda People's Defence Forces, Brigadier General Felix Klaije, who will be giving us the latest efforts by the Uganda People's Defence Forces to ensure that the disarmament goes on as smoothly as it should and that security and peace returns to this very volatile and flashpoint region in the country. Welcome, Brigadier Felix Klaije.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure seeing you again. I last saw you more than 4 years ago on another platform.
Hey.
Should have been done.
It's good to live long.
It's good to live long, no doubt. How are you doing this morning?
I'm well, thank you.
We are also joined by a member of parliament from Chekwi County. You're welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I would love you to briefly give us a profile of your position and what you hold in terms of the Acholi parliamentary group, not Acholi but Karamoja parliamentary group, and efforts that are ongoing to ensure that this resurgence of violence is brought to the attention of Ugandans, but also putting the Uganda People's Defence Forces on the spot on some of the reports and allegations that have been leveled against it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, viewers. I first of all want to thank NTV for affording Karamoja, and particularly Karamoja Parliamentary Group, an opportunity to share what is going on in Karamoja.
Yeah.
As you have always heard through various forums, people have said that actually Karamoja needs a voice that can be heard. And in many interactions we have with people, they really have very little they know about Karamoja. So I'm very grateful. My name is Aleper Moses. I'm a member of parliament for Chekwi County, Kadam, in Nakapripi district, and a member of Karamoja Parliamentary Group. I am standing in here for my colleague who should have come in earlier on, but it is all the same. We are talking about Karamoja.
That's right.
Yeah, as you all know, many words have been described about what's going on in Karamoja, but generally I think Karamoja is bleeding, which is a fact. Others have painted some pictures that the situation is calm. But I think what is important is what should be done right now for Karamoja to get it out of what it is in. The people have talked, the peacemakers have talked, the members of parliament have talked, but we know that there are institutions in this country that are supposed to handle particular mandates. But what is left now is for the institution of UPDF to handle its bit. Because the level it has reached, going barehanded to talk to these people has been already exhausted. So we want certain intervention that should be done by the UPDF. We have shared this in various forums, but I think it has not been followed to the way we have agreed with them, as other people have also shared.
Good.
Yeah.
So give us the picture of the exact extent of violence, extent of disturbances within the region. The other day I was watching a video where a homestead in Kabaruk is something, the name eludes me a little, but it was in Abim district where it was torched, and apparently some of the caretakers or the youth who had been taking care of the cattle at that particular point were apparently hacked. You take us through what exactly is happening. The lamentation, yes, is understandable, but let us understand what is the frequency of attacks, what is the nature of attacks, in which particular pockets are these attacks going on?
Yeah, thank you. Let me start by saying that actually the criminal elements have taken over the situation in Karamoja. It is in these dimensions. One, there is massive cattle theft, which is dubbed raiding. And this occurs in almost every part of Karamoja. There is no sub-county that is not disturbed every night. As a member of parliament and one of the leaders in Karamoja, our phones are off the hook every time. And I'm sure even now I'm getting missed calls, but which I can't answer. Because every night there are attacks in some parts of every district. Now, the situation in Abim, Abim and parts of and Karenga districts are districts actually that are not, that most of the criminals are not from there. So there are places where people have really gone and invaded those places because they can go and attack at free will, and because they don't have any way of defending themselves. That's what is happening there. So what has gone, it has deteriorated from cattle. They are now stealing even property. From cows, goats, now property, clothes. Yesterday I was with a woman member of Parliament of Abim. She told me they have even gone to the extent of stealing even saucepans. So that's the level of criminality that has occurred. Now, some of these people, some of these criminals, sometimes when they can't get access to the buildings, they set it ablaze. Okay. And of course, most of the structures there are grass-thatched. So that's how those things are recorded. Situations.
Brigadier.
Yep.
The Honourable Member of Parliament speaks of what is no doubt a very grim situation in Karamoja. The attacks and the fact that it appears to be a very well-orchestrated criminal campaign by bandits, cattle rustlers, and everything else. What is on the ground in terms of your own assessment as the UPDF? What are you doing? What are you encountering?
Can I start with maybe a correction about the words you are using?
Sure.
Well,
I'll be glad.
Yes, well orchestrated implies an organized criminal group. The last time I knew of English.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, and this is not the situation.
And he alludes to it.
No, he talks of widespread, but it's not organized by a particular one group.
Okay.
I hope I'm right, Honourable Member of Parliament.
You finish, I'll get
No, this is a dialogue.
Yeah,
for
sure.
us, we are not in court.
Sure.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yes, but it's true, some individuals indeed stealing cattle.
Okay.
And the greatest victims have been mainly Abim district, and then parts of Karenga, which actually communities don't even raid. For them, they're always on the receiving end. And they check where it comes from. It's near here. It's southern Karamoja, as they used to call it in those years of Idi Amin. It was South Karamoja province. At least there, the effect would have been less. But what has been happening in Karamoja, of course, is the inter-clan raids. Pian raiding, Bokora raiding, Mateniko, and the other way around. Now, what's in the situations when the Turkana, who come to look for pastures in Uganda, because it's been invaded right the other side, make alliances with the local communities to raid the others. And for instance, the other day, the people who killed the geologists and the two soldiers were Turkana. And 2 days ago, we worked with the leaders and they returned the guns that they had taken. So it's true there have been criminals who are stealing here and there. Okay? 1. 2, the areas you rightly put it in the introduction has been enjoying peace since 2009 until about 2-3 years ago, when this stealing began as stealing. Now there's something my colleagues do not bring out, which I found it is a point they would have been proud of. If you recall, Honourable, in 2000, after 2009, trade in cattle shot up. I remember one particular day I was driving from Kotido. I came passing lorries and lorries full of cattle, goats, sheep, cows. Legitimately traded, and they are coming down to either Teso or Mbale or even Kitubu and Gulu to sell. Hundreds and hundreds of lorries. The rate at which commerce was going on outpaced the rate of cows reproducing themselves. And so when I heard somebody say that these raids have depleted Karamoja of cattle, that's not the exact picture. The trading in cattle between 2009 and 3 years ago was unprecedented. And I thought somebody would be genuine enough to bring out that as one of the contributing factors. It did not only lead to depletion of the stocks, it also now raised the appetite of some of the individuals who didn't have, one, the means to trade, and yet they are young men, they are seeing money exchanging hands. They began associating with the criminals across the borders
in order to get some of
to get some guns.
Okay.
Because as we disarmed this side, Kenya did not disarm, South Sudan did not disarm. So the Toposa, who by the way traded ammunition in the open market like Matoke, the Turkana, who are moving with the guns, yet they are supposed to have been disarmed also, got a chance of trading guns with Ugandans. Now, these who got guns first began, therefore, stealing cattle from their colleagues. The victims, therefore, also try to look for guns to defend themselves.
Defend themselves and, of course, regain what
So
they
that
lost.
has indeed escalated the number of guns. We believe we are in the region of about 500 to 600 now. Excuse me.
600?
Yes.
Only?
You say only. That's almost a battalion, sir.
The level of violence being meted that we see.
The level of violence you are seeing is not mainly guns. It's burning of homes that is only referred to here. It's the killing people along the roads or attacking them in their homes. And this inevitably now called for a resumption of disarmament.
Good, and that's where there is a bit of...
Now, I came from that side so that I get now to answer your queries and also respond to what one has raised.
That's right.
Now, it's our tradition as UPDF, when we are to do an operation among civilians, we must involve civilian leaders. So we revived the disarmament committees, district and regional level. The disarmament committee is intended to handle two things. One, give us information. Two, if there's any intelligence to share, one may be shy to be seen going to the UPDF, but at least you can share with the disarmament committee member. These committee members are made of leaders. So, the first aspect is intelligence. The second one is monitoring our activities.
Your own UPDF.
Our own UPDF. Because we are not made of
Because
angels.
within there are wrong elements.
It's natural. Even within NTV here, there are some wrong elements.
No, with the mechanisms to ensure that is
You better not bet on that.
taken care of.
You better not bet on that.
UPDF must be able to demonstrate that it has mechanisms
I'm
to zero in.
Why are you jumping the gun? I will come to that. So, one of the mechanisms, of course, is working with the committee, which is supposed to monitor us and therefore point out our errors. But even internally, as you know, we have our own mechanisms. The purpose of an intelligence officer is to monitor criminality. The purpose of a political commissariat like myself is to deal with the soul of the individual soldier. But as you are aware, Jesus died here 2020 years ago. And his intention was to deal with criminality, the evil brought by the devil. Up to now, people are still killing each other, they are still fornicating, they are committing adultery, they are stealing public resources, and yet every Sunday. Allow me to complete my point.
I will allow you to complete that.
Yes.
Okay, please.
And yet every week, there is preaching to our souls not to sin. What am I saying therefore? The human nature is bound or capable of laying off the rules of the game. So, not only have we been able to recover stolen animals, we have arrested criminals.
Brigadier, let me interject here. We are receiving some, well, not breaking news, but an event that is currently ongoing. The body of the deceased Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Jacob Alanya, is being wheeled from his home. The body is due to be taken to Parliament, where he will lie in state, of course, for Parliament to mourn and pay respects, but also for the public to be able to go and pay their last respects to one of very influential leaders in the country, of course, having died just over 2 weeks ago. We now understand that our reporter Stephen Mbide is standing by to give us an update on how that is rolling out. Stephen, Take it away. Good morning, Stephen.
In Muyenga, because it's still a somber mood here as the casket containing the body of the late former Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Dr. Jacob Lokoli Olanya, is being taken out of the house. Now they are moving it into the car that is belonging to A+ Funeral Management. That's going to be taking it to Parliament, where it's going to be lying in the state. And then the members of Parliament some few invited guests will be paying their respects in eulogizing the late son of Uganda, who has been highly praised for being a statesman, a peace lover, a man who has been fighting for equality, for peace, a man who has served his country in various capacities, one as a member of Parliament, as a Deputy Speaker of Parliament, as a Speaker, but above all, as a man who loved his country passionately across the political divide, who could, at least has been praised for one who could love his country, who could serve his country without having, though he was belonging to the NRM, but he's believed to have at least tried his level best to serve his country without showing any political divide. Dying at the age of 56, dying on the 19th of March in the University of Washington Medical Center, Seattle. This man will forever be remembered as a man who at least tried to serve his country. He has run his race and has kept the faith, and the journey finally comes to an end. And on Friday, his body will be lowered down in Lalogi, Omolo, there in Omolo district. But now the body is now being taken. We're about to set off to head to Parliament. There is a lot of security detail here. He's now living forever his home that he built, he loved, and he will always miss here in Muyenga, and will be moving in a convoy, the entourage that is going to be containing family members, that is going to be containing, of course, a part of the security, part of many people who are here are already lining up on the road, trying to say bye to the man who is now leaving his house forever. At least we've seen different people coming here on different days. Even yesterday there was a service here, at least to honor the man and who is going to get a state burial. Of course, on Wednesday, it will be, the national organizing team has already made everything possible to make sure that, yes, the national service is going to be held at Kololo tomorrow, and the chief mourner will be the head of state. His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni will be there together with many dignitaries, but for now you can see the convoy is getting set to leave for Parliament. The security is here, so tight here in Kampala at Parliament, but of course also in Omolo. I passed via Parliament when I was coming here. I saw the police band was already on guard waiting to receive this body, and of course the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Annette Among, will be there to receive his body. And here we are setting off now. That's what you see is a convoy that is containing the casket where the body of the late Honourable Jacob Olanya is lying. This is the final day that he is leaving his house. He will never return here in his own home, having died on 19th of March. And then the president said that he delayed to announce his death because he had to first confirm and make sure that his family gets to know about his demise. And that's when we saw him announcing the death on 20th March around midday, around a few minutes to 1 p.m. He had to announce and let the world know that the Speaker of the 11th Parliament, Right Honourable Dr. Jacob Lokoli Olanya, had gone to rest and be with the Lord. You can see the security detail here, making sure that, yes, everything is okay as the casket and the convoy moves to Parliament of Uganda. This is Majidu Musisi Road, where he has been residing in Muyenga, and he will never return, make his way back here. He's leaving behind 8 children and 3 grandchildren, at least going by the accounts that were given by the family members here on Sunday when his body was returned here from the funeral home in Mengo. And taking you back, this gentleman was taken out of the country on 5th February when his health was deteriorating, and then they had to fly him through aboard Uganda Boeing, and which made his maiden flight from Uganda, and it was he was taken to Uganda, USA in Washington, where he has been trying to get treatment, but according to the health minister, he had not yet received treatment because the doctors were trying to make sure they stabilize him. He has been fighting for his health for quite a long period of time, because he has been in and out of Mulago Hospital. He has been flown to Dubai, to Nakasero Hospital, and then to Seattle, where he lost his life. He has been a man who has fought for his life. But we know that also the Parliamentary Commission has already received on this account the 1.2 billion shillings. This is going to be used to manage all the burial expenses, and at least many service providers are going to be receiving this money to make sure that this perfect gentleman receives a decent send-off. And this is what we're about to be seeing today, as Parliament pays respect to him through eulogizing food to this man. And then there will be a service tomorrow at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds before he's airlifted to Omoro, where the helicopter will be touching base at La Logi, and then we'll be seeing that the cultural leaders will be able to at least pay respect to this man on Thursday before the burial on Friday. This is a gentleman we are talking about who has lived for 56 years only, but he has left a long legacy that he has been praised by many people from different walks of life. On Sunday, we saw his body being driven here from Mengo, from the A+ Funeral Management Home, and we saw him coming back into the country. Body was brought back into the country aboard Ethiopian Airlines on Friday, and towards 1:57, 3 minutes to 2 p.m., we saw the body touching down via Ethiopian Airlines, and then he was received by the Vice President of Uganda, the Speaker of Parliament, and of course the religious leaders like the Bishop of Northern Uganda, members of Parliament, the Acholi Parliamentary Group, IPG, together with a powerful Royal Warrior dance, border dance. That was a dance that was meant to mourn for this gentleman who has left a long legacy. All is set. They are waiting for the family members to aboard the bus that is going to be taking them to Parliament, and then the casket will be snaking to Parliament from this Majidu Musil Road in Muyenga. Just here, you can see everywhere you pass, there are security personnel who are making sure that where he passes, the road is all cleared to make sure that by 9 a.m. the body is at Parliament, and then he will be taken to the south wing of Parliament, where it will be lying there, and then members of Parliament will be from 10 a.m. will be eulogizing the late former Speaker of Parliament, the 11th Parliament, Right Honourable Dr. Jacob Lokoli Olanya, and we know that a few members of the public have been also invited there, and then we'll be seeing many other events going down there at Parliament. But of course, we shall be giving you much more details as they happen here on Morning at NTV, and later on in our subsequent bulletins, as we say farewell to the perfect gentleman that is Right Honourable Dr. Jacob Lokoli Olanya, who until the 19th of March, he was the Speaker of Parliament, but now he has been replaced by Right Honourable Anita Among, and this is his final day from his home here in Muyenga, and then we shall be seeing this gentleman being paid respect for as he makes his way, as the body makes its way to that side of Omolo, where will be laid to rest. This is what is happening here. I'll be taking you back to studio, but later on I'll be giving you more updates. But for now, I'll be keeping the pictures on running as we move ahead with this program, as we pay respect to the late perfect gentleman. Back to you in the studios.
Many thanks, Stephen Mbide, for that very moving report and tribute to the man, Right Honourable Jacob Oulanyah, now deceased, the former Speaker of the 11th Parliament. His body will be making its way from his home in Muyenga to Parliament, where people and the public, that is, and members of Parliament shall be paying their tribute and last respects to the man who has become a colossus in the country's political history, now deceased. Of course, later on, we shall be delving a little bit into the legacy of the man my guests knew. That is after this particular discussion on cattle rustling, the resurgence of cattle raids, and generally the insecurity in Karamoja sub-region has been put to rest. Let's now go back to Brigadier Felix Kulaije. You were espousing on some of the causes of the resurgence in violence in Karamoja region before we went into that live report from Stephen Mbide in Muyenga. Could you tackle the issues that the Uganda People's Defence Forces is actually facing in ensuring the success of this disarmament process? Because it seems like there is a whole new set of issues to deal with, different from perhaps the ones that you dealt with in the first phase of the disarmament process.
Yes, previously this cattle rustling was a cultural phenomenon. You have cattle, then you are respected.
Yeah.
You don't have cattle, yet you have to marry.
You're a poor man.
You're a poor man.
So you have to steal
Now,
in a way.
In my humble view, that was easier to deal with because the elders had a say in the communities. In many places, whereas the elders are losing their grip, in Karamoja they still had the say in society.
That's right.
So we used to have elders alongside the elected leaders in dealing with the disarmament. But now, disarmament became commercial, and that's why I brought out the issue of cattle.
Yeah. Cattle trade.
Cattle trade, that indeed whetted appetite for those who couldn't afford it, and hence the coming in of guns to steal. Now, one of the challenges we are facing is that some of the local leaders actually are beneficiaries of this trade from the thefts. So those you thought would have been giving you the information, they alert them, no, don't use here, the UPDF has deployed, use here. That's one first challenge. Challenge number two is the aspect of the neighborhood that is still armed. You are taking away guns, yes, but the Turkana have come into grace, they have guns. And what they do, they will work with either the Matheniko, mainly they arrive with the Matheniko and at times with the GA to raid other places. Three, of course, look at the porous borders we have with Kenya and with South Sudan.
South Sudan.
So even if you were as vigilant as it should be, some of these criminals use the porous border to come in with the guns. What about on our part? We have been accused of seeing someone with the cattle disappear. Cattle can't disappear. It can't. The difference...
Essentially what they say, the UPDF is also profiting.
I understood it.
Yeah.
I understood it. Don't think I didn't.
But by saying it can't disappear, you might be alluding to the fact that, well, it must be somewhere and it's not with the UPDF.
No, there are two things. One, maybe some individuals steal the cattle they have recovered. I'm using maybe. You see, for us...
What do you know of? Aren't there any cases of soldiers
so far
being earmarked
and
even well known by the UPDF?
No. So far, what I can tell you, we are doing investigations, and soon we are going to have the results of these investigations. Because they did raise these issues. They have had several engagements.
That's
You
right.
see, first of all, let us not get the picture as if nothing is being done. There have been engagements right from commander-in-chief level, meeting these honorable members of parliament, meeting leaders. There have been engagements with the former CDF and even the current one. There have been engagements with the commanders on the ground. So efforts are being made to address the problem. But why are these efforts yielding results? Yes, you're asking UPDF, are you doing enough? But the people stealing are children of the soil. Right? Those who are doing the stealing, leave alone the Turkana who come in occasionally.
Okay.
They are children of the soil. So what's the role of the leaders and the parents in this particular case? Criminality.
Let us throw that point or question to the Honorable.
Of course,
Member
you know what I'm asking.
What is happening? The Ariang have issues to deal with?
Yes, first of all, I just want to point to something. There is a tweet, I think,
By?
from one of your officers, Ronald Kakurungu.
Yes.
He says MPs from Karamoja should get off TVs and get back home. The problem in Karamoja is not exactly a military one. I think it is a failure in leadership back home. I've decided to get back to this because General has also mentioned something, that the criminals are your children, are children of the soil.
Of the soil.
What
Yes.
is the role of parents?
Yes.
First of all, I want to dismiss that one straight away. When you get criminals in the city here, do you go and say, let the parents talk to them, or you go and engage them? There are institutions that are supposed to get the criminals, like police and the army. But what I want to say is, when, I don't know whether it's Lieutenant Colonel Kakurungu,
Yeah,
makes such a statement.
If it's Kakurungu, it's Lieutenant Colonel, but I've not seen it yet.
Yeah, well, you will see it later. When he makes those comments, what haven't we done as leaders of Karamoja? Just like General alluded, we have talked to everyone. When I talk of everyone, all the leadership, even His Excellency. But there is no change in the situation. What do you expect us to do? To sit down and not talk about it?
What exactly is the change that has not been realized that you want? How far do you want, for example, the Uganda People's Defense Forces and the government in particular to tackle this issue? He claims that the Uganda People's Defense Forces has engaged local leaders, but apparently some of the local leaders are conniving with some of the cattle raiders, informing them of where the UPDF is and where it's not. In other words, creating a safe pathway for some of these actions.
All right. I want to say this. Why we feel the army is not doing well.
Great.
One, we have engaged them and say UPDF is thin on the ground. It is really thin on the ground. I have a sub-county which is prone to these raids called Lorraine. If you get the deployment of UPDF there in a vast area, about 10 soldiers. How can you deploy 10 soldiers in the area of the CBD of Kampala? In a vast area. They have failed there because we have told them, get enough forces on the ground. And they agree with us. But since we started engaging them, as far as 2019, they have never done that. That's why we fault them.
Good. Second?
The next one is about the cattle that disappears. We agree, even His Excellency, when we engaged him, said that there should be no movement of cattle in trucks in the night. And still this happens. But you find those roadblocks are manned by the UPDF, but still the cattle move. That's how the cattle disappears. Because the raid is organized, you follow, reaching somewhere, you find the lorry trucks. The lorry trucks don't pass the bush, they pass the road. And that's where the UPDF is faulted. They're the ones manning these roadblocks. That's why you think you're failed on your part. If you give me to guard your home and something is stolen, what do you think? You will definitely blame me. That's why you're blamed. You will think you're part of it.
They will respond to that.
The other one is, we are really, you know, the role of the UPDF. It is to secure the territorial integrity of this country. And we really know the Turkana and the Pokot have a problem with us. They come in with arms. UPDF has not done this. Right now, in Kabong districts, the Turkana are moving with guns. They have settled there. But there's a detachment of UPDF in Kabong, in the commune. They are not doing anything. They are not even engaging them. That's what caused the other touching of the other home in the Kabong district. That's why you are really faulted. And then lastly, we really give you intel information that you know, but then I want to tell you that these rustlers are somehow predictable because they are routes they take. But we tell you, please use, these are the routes these people take. Please deploy here, deploy here. They don't. They don't.
Okay.
You are definitely complacent. Someone is forced to believe that you're actually part of the problem. Why? You need intel information from people. We give you the intel information, and you don't act on it. Why has it taken you this long? Then the other one is, I still want to stand by the fact that this is now a syndicated arrangement. Why? Because you'll find there is no raid where you'll find typically Matheniko or typically the GA. But you'll find their GA, their Matheniko, their Bokora, and that sort of thing.
That's true.
So it is definitely segregated as an organized crime, which should really step in and out.
Are you suggesting that they have an enforcer of this particular syndication of violence? Are they working as elements who are perhaps having some sort of coalition before? Because he has alluded to the fact that they've done this before, pitting each one against the other.
You see, you know, let me tell you, the problem with most people, and actually I even tell my colleagues that the problem with people is they don't understand Karamoja. They don't, up to now.
Help us understand Karamoja.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. You know, we have engaged them. This is what causing the raids. It's because there's a proliferation of harm through those porous borders deployed there. Please, instead of pursuing these people, deploy the army within the kraals so that when they come, you engage them before they attack, because UPDF is inept in actually tracking these people. That's
a serious accusation.
No, that's true. That's true.
What do you make of that? The UPDF is inept in
tracking, actually, the cattle thieves. They have failed.
The UPDF is thin on the ground.
Yes.
Movement of cattle is in the night, and it's on the roads where UPDF has the road blocks. Mm-hmm. What is happening, Brigadier?
You see, Honorable has put this blame square in my chest, and I will take it. Okay. Because the mandate is ours to protect the citizens.
So the UPDF accepts.
So of course, we not complicity. No, we accept there are failures that we have exhibited in doing our job. If people have succeeded in stealing these animals, people have succeeded in killing people, it's failure on our part. It would be superfluous for me.
Can I just give you some information?
Yes, sir.
Please do.
I take it.
Yeah. You know, why I want to give you this information is this. In Karamoja, at least 3 to 4 lives are lost every day to cattle rustling. And we are losing lives. And there is an institution that is really mandated to protect the lives of Ugandans. And when it fails, what should be done?
Honorable, we have asked the same question. You're only using different words.
Yeah, you know, we have to paint that picture so that you really...
Yes, but I also want to come back to you, to the statement I made. When crime becomes a pattern, it's no longer a matter of physical enforcement. It goes to the mind, it goes to culture. The role of the community in dealing with the crime.
That's right.
And the tendency has been that our colleagues, the leaders from Karamoja, blame others. There's no blame themselves. And for me, that will leave the approach, you know, justice, you see the balance up. The approach to criminality must not be a blame game. It must be a solution sought together. Where we fail, I admit, yes, we have not done our part as those who are supposed to protect the lives. But security is a matter of both the community and security agencies. And if those two don't work together in earnest.
And of course, he talks about the fact that they are sharing intelligence, but apparently this intelligence is either not being taken on or deliberately being dismissed.
Like I said earlier, for me, without information, I have no right to accept or deny anything until I have. And like I've told you, we have instituted investigations, especially on the issues of collaboration with the thieves. On the issues of cattle moving at night, when there is already a presidential directive not to move. And I want to tell you, anybody we shall find culpable of this will be prosecuted in a court martial.
Has that happened before? Has there been any prosecutions in the court martial or bringing to book some of the soldiers or the elements within the UPDF that you think are conniving with the raiders? Have you had an incident where this information has been shared by the UPDF? You
know, in normal circumstances, when such a situation happens, like at one time when the UPDF soldier killed a priest, that was brought to the open and brought to the people. But these other ones, have, to the best of my knowledge, we have not seen this happening. But what I want to tell the general is, you are still talking of investigations, People are losing lives. People are losing properties. The place is getting worse. And I want to correct you. In 2019, they reported that there were 500 guns in Karamoja.
Yeah.
In 2019. And that was a statement from the division commander of the 3rd Division, General Balikudembe. And you are telling us today it is still 500 guns. And now, hold on. No, you have been reporting every time that we have removed this number of guns, we have removed this number of guns. What is happening? Why is the number remaining? But actually what we should just get to know is there are more guns than this.
More than the number.
But
Okay.
you see this photo?
Yes, I've
What
seen
is that? Can I have a look?
This is a UPDF soldier who was ambushed.
What we are looking at here is a photo of a UPDF soldier who was attacked by
An arrow.
and he was hit by an arrow from one of the raiders.
Allegedly, you see,
he was coming from.
Why I'm using that word is, when you said, when you talked about the leaders, you straight away accuse the leaders are not cooperative. But when you are talking about the UPDF, you say maybe there are some soldiers within the UPDF that are doing
I think I was.
You see, what I'm trying to say is, me, let's not do the
Let him address your concern
some
very
leaders.
quickly.
I use the word some very clearly. I can never make a blanket statement because amongst you, there are people who are very, very cooperative. But amongst you, there are those. Even actually, when you engage them off air, they will tell you some of us. Politically, out of political experience, do not condemn these raids.
Do not condemn the raid.
Out of political experience. Not commercial gain. So, when I use the word disarm, I'm very careful because we know some of them. The point is, on our part, there's an excuse. We have not done exactly what we are supposed to do to end some of these things. And we're improving along the way.
Now, Brigadier,
yes.
Do you want Ugandans and Karamojong in particular to outlast this phase of violence as the UPDF waits to do something? Where is the urgency on the part of the Uganda People's Defense Forces and the government to arrest the situation and bring peace to Karamoja? Because that's what people want to see.
The urgency, if we have been able to recover thousands of cattle, if we have been able to arrest criminals and prosecute them, work is being done.
It should be seen to be done.
Of course it is being seen to be done.
He says.
Okay,
satisfying human wants is never.
Okay, now let me tell you something, General.
Yeah, please.
The way you report, the way you report. Hold on.
Yes.
The way you report about the guns that have been recovered.
Yes.
You report about the lives that have been lost.
Yes.
You report about
the cattle recovered.
The cattle recovered.
Yes. You
I want to ask
that
you.
one. You have to ignore
If
that
these
one.
are your KPIs, and the situation is even getting worse, we are talking about the impact of this. After having removed the guns, as the peace, what level of peace has come? Instead, the situation is getting out of hand. That's a fact.
Oh, no, it's
now,
not getting out of hand.
It is getting out of hand.
No, sir.
Hold on. Now, you have killed 309 out of the 500 guns holders. Why hasn't the situation come down? Your KPIs are misdirected.
Let's avoid.
Let's
avoid appearing dismissive of this.
I'm not being
He says
dismissive.
it's getting out of hand.
Saying the level of peace has come down, arising from this. But now, arising from this, nothing has changed. So really, your KPIs are
when his
misdirected.
relative dies, things are out of hand. When
It's natural.
It's
natural.
No, what I mean is, just hold on.
Yeah.
I want to say this. When there was a bomb attack in this city, really, when we lost lives in this city, it was very bad. It occasioned definitely pursuing these people
In Congo.
Do you know how many lives they lost in Kampala that day?
Nearly 8.
Do you know how many lives they lost in Masaka?
Yes.
During the
29.
spate of...
But you are talking of 309. And you are still just investigating. You are just here. But hold on. What I'm trying to say is, you should be seen to be acting. That when 309 lives have been lost, things have gotten so serious. Because when the massacre
is not angry enough and is not...
Let me tell you, the 300 is
he's not taking this issue seriously.
Hold on, because in massacre...
You have to hold on the time.
Let him respond. Let him respond. No, Brigadier, please respond.
This is a monologue, not a dialogue.
Brigadier, respond.
You don't want the message to go to pass across.
Yes, but you see, you're passing your message.
The message has no doubt. Respond to that.
You see the picture?
The accusations are very clear.
The accusations are very clear.
Yeah.
And the numbers is giving you are not innocent people killed. These are thieves who have put out of action. The 309.
But how many innocent people have been lost? Have lost their lives? You have no statistics.
No, that one I
No
admit I don't have them.
So
All right,
all these
I
ones,
want to tell
according
you,
to the UPDF, all these are
yesterday,
criminals.
The night,
Yeah, 309 are
hold
criminals.
on, Tuesday
Yes.
night, someone was killed in a beam, shot in cold blood.
But are you aware in this country?
Hold on, hold
Are you
on.
aware in other parts of this country
What
that
I was
people
saying
also are
is,
dying every
you are
day?
talking about this. If you are
No,
the
the fact that they're dying should
Yes.
not dismiss the fact that these ones are also being
Of
killed.
course, I'm not dismissing
Okay.
it.
But these are, let me tell you, whether they are raiders, whether they are innocent people, all counts life.
All lives count. All lives count.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
And in fact, the
this
UPDF
idea of
should be
saying
arrested,
these are the
right?
ones who are
Not
put off
necessarily
action.
putting them out of action.
I want to tell you, innocent people are dying in cold blood. And why I'm saying this is, for you, you're saying you have not taken action because the 309 are cattle rustlers. The ones in Masaka were innocent people. The ones in Kampala were innocent.
Honorable,
But I want to tell you, almost an,
Okay.
Honorable, you put what in my mouth. I didn't say
what do we
we have
have?
not taken action.
What do
No,
we
you
have
said
right now?
He has said.
Apart from the
He
investigation.
has said our KPIs are wrong. Please give me the right ones.
you
I'm
should
ready to
say
run.
they should go like this.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Arising from this, the peace has improved from this level to this level. Okay? But now what I'm saying is, in 2019, we would lose one isolated case, then eventually it upgraded to 3. Now we are losing 5 every day.
Honorable.
And yet you have these KPIs.
Anyway,
These KPIs don't speak well.
let me just round this up. Earlier, Brigadier, the Honorable alluded to the fact that Uganda People's Defence Forces is thin on the ground. The UPDF is not short of men to be able to deploy. We are in Congo.
Actually, in
We are
excess,
deploying
we are in
very
Somalia.
many soldiers. We are in Somalia. We have soldiers who are still within the country, in the barracks and the other centers that the UPDF is. Why are you thin on the ground? If it requires numbers, why aren't the numbers adding up?
The numbers.
Because we have the soldiers.
We have the soldiers,
Yeah.
but we don't have soldiers to man every inch. And that's why I told you, security is a product of collaboration between the security agencies and the population. There is no country in the world, even China with 1 billion people, that will do security minus the participation of the communities. Never.
Just one last question to General. General, your home is under attack. There are thugs attacking you. And they have held your family hostage. Will you get out of your house, run, and pursue some other security issue and leave your family there? What Karamojongs are saying in these meetings is, why have you taken our children who used to help us to track these LDUs? Return them. Why are you taking these soldiers to
That's
Somalia if you know?
That's a whole new issue.
Yes. what I'm saying is, why are you taking these soldiers outside Uganda when even Ugandans are being killed?
And
Why
we-
don't you first correct this issue in Uganda? Then you go and pursue your external, policy. That's what the Karamojongs are telling you in these meetings.
Honorable.
Security and peace in Karamoja is not a priority.
Your
to
house
the
has been
UPDF.
attacked, you're pursuing some other external things.
I'm asking the question.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Security in any part of this country is a priority.
Then why
Security
are
in
you
Karamoja is a priority. I've told you.
acting urgently?
But we do. We do. These recoveries have not been made by mere prayers. People move. People move. We employ both blocking and pursuit.
No doubt.
Of course, somebody who is in a burning house will not appreciate that there are efforts being made to put out the fire.
Okay.
I do appreciate some of the frustration. Efforts are in place.
Brigadier and Honorable, we are fast running out of time, and as we enter the final bend of the discussion, allow me briefly take you to the convoy that is containing the hearse, and of course other members of the Olanya family, friends and officials from government, as it snakes its way to Parliament, where the body of the fallen speaker shall be lying in state for the public to pay last respects, and also for members of Parliament to pay specific tribute as required by the norms of Parliament and the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. Of course, there Stephen Mbide is following that for us. Later at Parliament, he will be giving us comprehensive reporting on what shall be happening there and how Ugandans will be snaking through to be able to pay their last respects to Jacob Olanya. As we close this engagement, Brigadier, what do you make of the legacy of the late speaker?
Giant of a man.
It's a difficult
Giant of a man that I first saw
way back in 1989. Jacob came with the Honorable Mao and some other students from law school. There were 7 in number to my room. At that time I was at Makerere University. That time I was chairman of Livingstone Hall, but also chairman of Council of Chairmen, actually the first chairman of Council of Chairmen.
Wow.
Now, there was a move to impeach the then guild president, late Andrew Kasura. I had known the motive. It was a move outside politics than universal politics.
The politics began a long time ago.
Oh, of course. There had been an assumption that Kasura, being a son of a DP, former member of parliament, he would be a candidate for the opposition.
Okay, very clear.
But so, excuse me. So there was an attempt to punish him for not towing their line, and they were told, if you are going to impeach the guild president, you must have courage on your side. Because I was a good debater anyway.
Okay.
So they came to my room, persuaded me to support them. And the person speaking was Olanya. A fresher talking to an elder. Because I was an elder at the time, third year. And in my palace as the emperor of Livingstone Hall.
You know.
So I told them, no. Gentlemen, I don't agree with you. And what you're pursuing is a personal vendetta. Allow the man to complete his term. He was left with 1 month. They respectfully disagreed and left. I meet on Olanya again, this time with sort of indirectly. He was pursuing some political agenda in the 90s. And indeed, I participated in bringing down that agenda. Now, I did not know he had known until when we were launching Tarishit activities 3 years ago. And he said it. He said, courage here. But this is Olanya, whom I went to last minute. Names had been taken to the Israeli embassy. When I learned he was leading a delegation to Israel, I picked a phone and said, Right Honorable, of all people, how can you go without me? He said, Honorable, come. So I moved to his office. He called the protocol. He said, is it too late to include Honorable Kuraije? Before long, we're on the flight
with him to Israel.
3, when he's in the seat of speaker, the quality of debate will be very serious.
Wow, that brings me to your parting remarks on the quality of debate as a member of parliament, the legacy of Jacob Olanya, yourself as one who will perhaps continue that tradition. What do you make of how that will play out in regard to what he espoused as some of the tenets of a parliament that should be?
Yeah, thank you. I also came to know
very briefly
when I was first year in uni, but I somehow interacted with him from a distance. But the closest I came to him was when he started pursuing the interest to stand for speaker. And while we were in Chankwanzi, I was the leader, the head of the Karamojong MPs. We were in Chankwanzi, so definitely I had to organize the team and we had a close engagement with him. But the latest was, I had one time an engagement with him in his office because he asked me to look out for someone he was with in university. He said, this intelligent Karamojong lawyer, I don't know where he has gone. He's called so-and-so, and he's a personal friend. And I told him I would pursue and bring him. So what he told me really is, he still wants to carry out another induction for members of parliament. And this time he wants to carry in parliament the way the network Pakabulo are done for them. You organize a session, sort of a moot, and people really go through the practical experience. And he told me he would do it. He promised to do it, but unfortunately this has not come to. But for sure, I can't water down what people have talked about it. When Right Honorable was on the seat, you wouldn't just get up and talk. You would even ask you, under what rule
are you making that particular point?
So you definitely think twice. So he definitely was creating a check on MPs to ensure that quality debates are brought. into the House. And of course, he emphasized well-researched debates, and that's what people are really, that's what
looking
we shall
out
miss,
for.
but we believe that what he had inserted in will be taken up. So.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for that very glowing tribute to the gentleman, the now deceased Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Jacob Oulanyah. Just to recap of what is happening right now, as you can see on your screen, the hearse that bears the body of the fallen Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Jacob
Allow me
Oulanyah.
correct you, former Speaker. Because now they have a Speaker substantive.
Yeah, sure, no doubt about that. Many thanks for that. There is always a slip of the tongue as you go about the conduct of this particular duty.
Well, he died as Speaker. I can't blame you.
Speaker.
Yeah.
So there you are. The House is making its way. Later, the public can, of course, have the opportunity to pay last respects to Jacob Oulanyah as his body shall lie in state to allow members of Parliament carry out the required tradition of a man of his stature. Tomorrow, the national official funeral shall be held at Kololo, where the president is expected to be the chief mourner ahead of his interment in Lalogi County, Omoro District later in the week. Of course, NTV shall be covering each and every step of this very somber developing story, as we have done indeed since the body returned to Uganda last week. And of course, now let's go into a very short break. Morning at NTV continues right after.
For us,
Thank you for keeping it here on Morning at NTV. Stephen Imbide on Fefe Switch right here at Chibuli. For the last 25 minutes, we've been in an entourage from the home of the fallen grandson, Right Honourable Dr. Lokoli Jacob Oulanyah, who passed on 19th of March 2022, and now we see many people standing by here in Chibuli just to at least see the convoy that is containing the body, the casket of the late Jacob Oulanyah. Wherever I've been coming from that side of Majidu Musi Road, where he has been residing, many people have been standing on the road just to see the body, at least through the casket where he is in this A-plus funeral management van, and this convoy has been snaking from that side as early as 8:20, and we are making our way to Parliament of Uganda, where members of Parliament and a few dignitaries plus other invited guests will be paying their respects to the fallen grandson of Uganda, and then the body will be taken to the chambers where members of Parliament only and plus some ministers will be eulogizing the late Jacob Oulanyah. He having been the speaker of the former speaker of the 11th Parliament, and he is now having been replaced by Right Honourable Anita Among. At Parliament, we know that as the viewing of the body goes on, the members of Parliament will be seated in a tent because they are over 500 and they cannot fit in the chambers, and they will be following the events via large screens. And then the body will be lying in state in the evening at 6 p.m. when the Parliament is expected to be adjourned. The body will be lying in state, and then until tomorrow at 8:15 when the body will be taken to Kololo ceremonial grounds for the ceremony that's going to be at least attended by those invited dignitaries from in and outside of Uganda to have that funeral service, the national funeral service organized by the National Organizing Committee headed by the Minister for Presidency, Babirye Mire Babaranda, and the Parliamentary Commission, plus a few family members. Here in Chibuli, we are now just snaking towards Green Hill Academy, and in the next 20 minutes or so, the body, this convoy is expected to be touching base at Parliament of Uganda, and then it will be received, expected to be received by the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Anita Among, and then he will also be accompanied by the members of Parliament. This body arrived in Uganda on Friday around 3 minutes to 2 p.m. The Ethiopian Airlines was touching base at Entebbe International Airport, and then the casket was received by the Vice President of Uganda, Honorable Retired Major General Jessica Alupo, together with the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, and other family members, plus a few dignitaries, received with one morning dance, border dance that was performed by the border dancers from Agago district, and then it was driven to Mengo, the home of A+, the funeral home for A+ funeral management, and then it was taken from there, driven to Muyenga at his home on Sunday, where a mass was held, a service was held, including some ministers, few dignitaries, and other people convened at Muyenga at his home, where the body has been from Sunday at 9 a.m. until this morning at 8:15, when it has been driven out. Amidst a somber mood from the family members, the relatives, the neighbors, as well as some people who are now standing on the road from as far as Muyenga, going head towards Parliament. Following now, Dr. Jacob Olanya got this honorary doctorate from Leo Theological College in USA. That was on 13th July 2019, and barely 3 years is now going to rest. He has fought his fight and he has kept the faith, is now going to rest. And we know that all leaders, cultural, political leaders across all the political divide have been praising this man who has died at the age of 56, but his legacy speaks volumes, having left a lot of big impact on the young generation, on many politicians and many other people, having at least spearheaded an education fund personally, sponsoring many, over 100 students from different schools, from different parts of northern Uganda, to have at least an opportunity of acquiring education, and they've been sponsored by Dr. Jacob Olanya. And at this, we've got a confirmation from the Chief Justice, Alphonse Owini Dolo, and the Speaker of Parliament that now they're going to be taking forward this initiative, the Education Fund, to make sure that this young generation don't miss their opportunity that was initiated by the late Jacob Olokoli Olanya. And they are going to be spearheading this initiative to make sure that, yes, they give him a decent burial. Wolaba wano tuli ku morning at T NTV, era lweno lw'oseregende lw'emmotoka oluviri ddala emuyenga Makage ku ssabbiina 15 emmotoka oluseregende luno lufulumye okuva mu Makage, omulundi gwe ogusembedde ddala okubeera ng'asula mu Makage ge yeezimbira n'akulizaamu abaana b'omunaana, kw'ossa mwabadde ate n'abazzukulu baalese abasatu. Awo tuli mu lugendo olutwalekeza Parliament, gyagenda okuba nga ababaka ba Parliament bamwogerako ebirungi ebyenjawulo, kubanga tukimanyi nti bangi okuva ku ludda lwonna lwa Parliament badde bamuwaana, bamwogerako birungi byereere, so nga tukimanyi nti olunaku lw'enkya okusabira omubiri gw'omugenzi genda kubeerawo ekkololo okuva ku ssaawa 3, ate oluvannyuma guteekebwe mu helicopter gutwalibwe e Lalogi olwo aziikibwe omumolo ku Lwokutaano. This is the convoy that is heading its way to Parliament. Now, in just 2-3 minutes, I'm going to be taking you to a short commercial break, because now we are heading to a bend that is so crucial at Namuongo here at Monitor 8th Street. I want to show you the picture where many people are here standing just to see the casket, the convoy that is containing the body of the late fallen former Speaker of Parliament. Many people are standing by, the police, the army, also making sure that the road is cleared of traffic and making sure that both the casket and the convoy arrives at Parliament peacefully without any interruption and on time, because we know at 10 a.m. the special program is supposed to be beginning there and then. This is we are just approaching 8th Street, where I want to show you, where I want my camera person Gary Wangoruna to show you many people, many coming from Monitor Publications, many coming from the offices here, trying to see the convoy that is containing the casket of Dr. Lokoli Oulanyah, and this is where we are. From 8:15, we've been on our way heading towards